Claudia, can you share with us a little bit about how you got started? What made you decide to get into real estate when you came over?
Okay, so I moved from Colombia when I was 26 years old. I studied biology in my country. I moved here with the hopes of learning English, and within the first 2 years, I went to school, tried to learn English, work at Bank of America, and at some point, I just got tired of working on my feet for 8 hours a day, having to ask for permission to go to the restroom, and being way below the poverty line. So when I was in Colombia, I used to help a friend of mine in his real estate company. And the only thing I knew was in the United States, there is a 6% commission versus Colombia, which is 3% commission. And I knew I am a salesperson. I love to be independent. And I said, you know what, if I'm gonna change something, I'm just gonna go get my real estate license. I had no idea that at the time there was the peak of the market. I didn't research anything. I just said, I'm gonna get my real estate license, where should I go? So the manager of the branch of Bank of America knew several realtors that will come to deposit their commission. So she connected me every time one came in. Hey, talk to this one, talk to that one. And one of them says to me, hey, I think you should go to Keller Williams because they teach all new agents what to do. If you come to my company, nobody's gonna help you. But once you learn, come to my company. And that was the very first time I even heard of Keller Williams. But to be quite honest, I didn't know of any other companies anyway. I had just arrived to this country. And I got my license, and
Uh-oh. Claudia? Oh, no. Oh, we've got a full connection. Uh-oh. Oh, no. I think she might have dropped really quickly. Let me do a refresh.
No.
I think she popped off. I think it's her connection because we have a full connection on ours. Okay.
Monica, what's her market share?
She's in Miami.
And she has a $100 million team in Washington, so she's an expansion agent. She's an owner, I think, of 3 offices.
Yeah.
So
she built out originally the original team, and when she hit NAHREP Top 250, I believe was in Spokane.
Yeah, Washington.
Yeah. Did you text her?
I can just call her.
Okay. Either way.
Those speakers up here. Hey. Okay. So do you want to just keep talking? We put you on my speakerphone while you're connecting.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know where I lost everybody.
Right when you got your license.
Okay, perfect. So I got my license, and I called this person that I have met at the bank, and I pretty much joined Keller Williams and joined his team from day one. I think I'm connecting now. Okay, let's see. Can you all hear me now? I'm on the computer.
You might be on mute.
Yep. How about now?
did I switch?
There we go.
There we go.
Perfect. What about that? So I basically joined KW from day one, and I actually was an agent in a team. Technically would have been a buyer's agent. However, this rainmaker really didn't follow the model, didn't follow the MREA. So we were able to work buyers and sellers, which I really didn't. I worked with buyers for basically the first year and a half. The market was exploding. It was fantastic. Pretty much everybody had so many leads. I didn't have a database because I had just moved to Spokane. So I just took advantage of all the leads that came over. I worked really early until really late, and I grabbed as many buyers as possible. And in my first year, I sold 36 homes in my very first year. And then, but I knew as I was watching the team, even though he didn't follow the models and the systems, I knew that that was a business that I wanted to own. So I set up a goal that within a year, so by the time I was 2 years in the business, I was gonna launch my team. And And basically I just did that. So that's how I got into real estate. It was really a pressure of not working at Bank of America, wanting to make more income, wanting to have my time to work a lot, but to make more money. And that's the beauty of this industry. The income potential is unlimited. It all depends on you. So to me I'm a very competitive person. So to me I can do this, and that's how I did it.
Definitely. Wow, that's great to hear a little bit more about that. Can you share with us? So I know when you got into the industry was right when it was kind of shifting up. Talk to me about when it shifted down. How did you then, build your business, build your database, and start creating, the phenomenal business that you have now?
Okay, so I was part of this team, and this is how long ago that we used to have a pager where the leads came through. So we will rotate the pagers between the agents to see the phone number that we will call back. And that pager in 2005, 2006, 2007, let's see, I opened it 2006, you will get, I don't know, maybe 2,000 leads a month. And in May of 2007, we got 400. And that's how we saw the market had just shifted. We went from 2,000 a month to 400, 300, 300, 200, doing the exactly same thing in the team. At the time, because I was already having so many listings and I was doing so well, I had actually hired a showing assistant within the team for myself. Within 3 months, I had to say goodbye, I cannot afford you. And yet at the time, I was already preparing myself to launch my own team. There were a lot of inconsistencies within the team that I was part of. One of those was he wasn't following the model. So I talked to one of my partners, which happened to be my boyfriend. And I said, let's just open the team. Let's open the team. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. So we launched the Legacy Group November 2nd, 2007, when the market literally was going down and crashed in 2008. So it's kind of like, for me, I honestly like that market better than a hot market because the opportunities are maybe a little different, and yet we were able to build a large business. Our first year, so 2008, we sold 120 homes, and coming from, I don't know, 36. But what it did is allowed us to really focus on the basics. So the first thing I did when I opened the Legacy Group, I opened it backwards, and I'm gonna share the story without necessarily talking about the team that I was in, and yet that Rainmaker he disappeared, he went to China, he wasn't paying attention to the team for about a year because we did so well, he had money to travel and he was doing other things. So we kind of became the mentors of the agents that were in the team. So when we left, 4 of those agents said, we're not gonna be in this team anymore, we're gonna move with you. And at the time I had called someone to hire as an assistant. At the moment when I see I have to, all these agents, I cannot leave them alone, I cannot drop them, what are they gonna do? I knew that team was gonna collapse. Eventually, 2 months later, they got fired from KW. So I'm glad I took on those agents, but what that put me was in a position of, I had to hire an executive assistant full-time, what cost me more money, and change lock boxes, signs. We started with 40 some listings. I had 4 agents that were buyers agents and listing agents. So I started the Legacy Group with like 6 agents, 1 full-time admin, 1 part-time admin, out of nowhere as a mess. So I had read the MREA once. In that weekend, I read it again, and I sat with my team leader and I said, okay, I read it again. What am I supposed to do now? Like, how do I implement these monster of fantastic guidelines, but how do I start? So we kind of went through, what do I have? And the first thing was get a database in place. So I told all those agents, if you want to really start with the Legacy Group by January 1st, it is November 2nd. If in January 1st you want to be part of my team, you must bring 100 names with their addresses, like, as complete as possible. And we're going to put them in a CRM, and I'm going to start marketing the database. So I basically, by January 1st, I had 700 people in a database, all with addresses, names, that will start dripping with a 33 touch campaign that I outsourced, because then at the time we didn't have Command or EH or any of these things. So you will outsource with all kinds of programs. So I had Top Producer where I manage everybody. And then we outsourced the 33 touch with another company. And I just launched that. And that was the very first thing I did, because I knew if I ever want to have a business that is referral based, I got to start with a database right now. And then we have a goal of adding 50 people on a monthly basis from my agents, from the leads, and so forth. So that was like the very first thing we did. Then this is a funny story. The second thing I did is I went to family reunion for the second time in my life. The very first time when I went as an agent in a team. And I was, no way, you shouldn't specialize. I want to work with sellers. I want to work with buyers. This doesn't work. Now I am a team owner. I go to family reunion. I'm like, of course it makes sense. You should specialize. Buyers agents, listing agents. So I come back and I talk to the agents that I had. And I said, okay, moving forward, the 4 of you are going to be buyers agents. The 2 of you are going to be listing agents. And we're going to roll that way. Within about 3 months, we were broke. We had no listings. My poor listing agents were starving. My buyers agents didn't have buyer leads. And what I realized is I made a change in pro of following the model without being ready. What I mean by that is I didn't have systems in place for lead generation for listings to support my listing agents, therefore to have a lot of listings and generate buyer leads for my buyers agents. So as I realized this, I said, okay, everybody needs to go get listings one way or another way. Let me go back and look at the systems we have. And it took me about 4 months to set up lead generation system, which is call expires for sale by owners. What is the follow-up system we're going to use? Who's going to implement it? What listing presentation are we going to have? What scripts are we going to use? All the systems, so then I can have an agent come and say, okay, I'm going to teach you what listing presentation we use. I'm going to teach you the scripts on the phone, so then you can convert the expired listings, or I convert them for you. Once we have expired listing, call, and maybe we don't get the appointment yet, what is the follow-up systems that we have? So I had to kind of go backwards to move forward because I move forward too fast, and I really shouldn't have. But I catch it really fast, and I changed the systems. And then once I was ready, the next year I said, okay, now going with this profile, who has the best personality for being a listing agent and a buyer's agent. We specialize everybody. And so ever since we follow the model, and we have buyer's agents and listing agents, and everybody is specialized.
That's amazing that you went 2008, that you did such an amazing number of transactions, when I know that's when people started to really flounder and struggle a little bit in the business. And then that you were able to really, you failed forward, right? You were able to build that team, have a really difficult time doing it in favor of following the model, and yet came out of that other side very successful. Can you talk to us a little bit about, if you were to recommend, so we have some agents that are kind of at all levels of the business right now in the room. Could you share what are the 3 things that you feel have made you the most successful that you would recommend that agents implement in their business?
Okay, so I say I'm an implementer. My motto is copy, paste, implement. I don't invent anything. I go find somebody who's doing what I want to do at a very, very high level, and I get there. I ask them what you're doing, how you're doing it, and I take it home and I implement it. My team, they will always be freaking out every time I went to a class, because they'll be like, okay, now what is she going to do? What is she going to change? What is she going to make us do? Because every time I'll be like, okay, this is what I learned. We need to change. We need to change. We need to change. So part of that is having flexibility and not be afraid of change, because we as humans, we tend not to change. But in order to grow, you have to change. So finding somebody who's doing what you want to do at a high level, and go call them, interview them, ask for help. I remember the very first time I talked to Ben Kinney. He's in the Northwest, as I was, and he was in a magazine on the Northwest. And I just went on kw.com, find his name, find his cell phone number, and I text him and I say, hey, this is Claudia Restrepo from Spokane. Do you mind giving me 30 minutes of your time? I want to know what you do. Not even thinking he will reply. And he was already very successful by then. And he texts me back, I will give you 30 minutes if you give me 30 minutes and I know what you're doing. I'm like, done. Went on a week, put on a phone call. And if it wasn't for Ben kind of changing my mind and giving me some perspective, I'll have never taken like a Boomtown account or invest in internet lead generation, which was just getting up and running. And I had no idea that that was an option. So once okay, this doing it, how much are you paying? I only pay $1,000. I don't pay more than $1,000. Okay. So I just did what he told me to do. And that just catapulted my business tremendously. So I was looking at, I want to close 400 transactions. Who in the world is doing? Clearly in Spokane, nobody had even closed 50. So I didn't have anybody in Spokane that I could go shadow or follow. So guess what? You got to get on a plane, go places, meet with the people. So I, at the time, Chad Goldwasser, who's not with the company anymore, was the #1 agent in Keller Williams at the time with 450 transactions. So I found a way through a coach to get me through Chad, and I ended up buying Chad Goldwasser systems. He goes, yeah, okay, I'll sell them to you. And I said, okay, perfect. And I took that and I just implemented it, right? So implement what you go. Sometimes we are really good at going to classes and we fill our brains with a lot of information, but it never comes from here to action. So just make sure that you're taking action on implementing something. If it's one little thing, implement something. Mindset, and I know we talk a lot about this, but it is everything, right? Like if you're not in the right state of mind, how are you gonna function? How are you gonna create what you wanna create? So check on your mindset. And it's not all about just being a positive thinker. Oh, life is so great. It's not just about being a positive thinker. It's about really aligning your beliefs with your actions, with your energy, with your physiology, so then you can take action, right? So having affirmations every day, but affirmations that actually make sense, you know, like no an affirmation that says, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow. I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow. I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow. That all, the brain goes, yeah, whatever. You're not doing the activities. You're clearly not going to be a millionaire. But, you know, things like I'm a listing agent. People want to work with me. You know, that's different. That's you're telling your brain this works, right? So there is other ways to do affirmations that your brain will get into agreeing with you, and then you put it out there for the mirror. So mindset, for sure, you gotta work on your mindset. And it's not something that it just shows up and it's a choice. It's something that you work on a daily basis. Your mindset, you check in on it. I was talking to a coach today and he was asking me, how you doing? And my answer, and I'm being transparent because I'm not a perfect human and life happens to me too. I said, look, I am emotionally drained right now. And yet I know that I have to, because I am emotionally drained today, I'm checking my state of mind almost every 5 to 10 minutes because I need to function. And instead of focusing on that, I'm going to focus on the things that I'm excited about right now that give me energy. I'm working from the office. I'm not working from home. I'm getting up every half an hour to move because I know that the movement, the energy helps me get on a better mindset. So learn about mindset, not just assume that because you're a positive thinker or a positive optimistic person, that's your mindset. So that's number 2. And I think number 3, and it may sound a cliche, just follow the model. Follow the model, follow the model, follow the model. People ask me, what is the secret? I go, there is no secret. We all have a book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Maybe the secret is you gotta read it and implement it. So it's right there. Everything is right there. Just make peace with it. Understand that you might have to sacrifice sometimes. I will tell you, the first 2 years of the Legacy Group, I did not have a life. I'll tell you that. Don't get me wrong. I had a blast doing what I was doing, but I had a blast getting up at 6, being at the office at 7, working until 10, going home, keep talking about it, working on Saturdays, Sundays. I will go on Sundays from 7 a.m. until 2 to plan my week, work on the business, because while I was during the week, I was working in the business. And it was 2 years that I will tell you, I had my head down on work. But then one day I lifted up my head and I was, wow, I built this. And then I could then go golfing 3 times a week, go to the office 3 days in the morning, eventually go to a trip for 2 weeks at a time, eventually 3 months at a time, and then eventually I replaced myself, I moved to Florida. So the challenge is we all think that doing the activities that are the hardest thing, you're gonna have to do them forever, then you don't do them. The truth is, you're gonna have to do them for an amount of time until you get to the point where you can pay somebody to do it for you, right? So, but you gotta put in the time. You cannot expect that, okay, there is a model, I read the book, it's just gonna flourish on its own. No, you got to do it. You gotta implement it. You gotta get in there, make the phone calls. You gotta get the appointments. I was making 5 appointments a day until I eventually was able to pay for marketing to get me listing appointments. So what that, maybe 9 months, 10 months, 12 months, but I did not stop until I had enough cash flow, then lead with revenue, so I could get for marketing. So then I only had to do maybe 10 appointments a week because the other ones showed up in my marketing. But if you get that, if you put in the time now and you give it all, it may be 1-2 years. I know people that have built 7-level teams in 3 years. It took me 5. Today, if you look at the next generation, which is the Tim Hiles of the world, they did it in 3. It can be done, but the amount of effort that you have to put in is there now and put it in. And you will get to the other end. You will get to the other side, and then you'll have the freedom that it creates to own a business. And the beautiful business that Gary Keller has given us this gift. Look, here is how you build a business. Build it inside my company, and we're going to help you and get the freedom and the income that you want. So 3 things. What was that? What did I say? What were the 3 things? Mindset. Implement.
Follow the model.
Follow the model. There you go. Good job.
Awesome. I appreciate you sharing that so much. And I think one of the things that really struck me was I heard a quote once that said, live 3 to 5 years of your life doing what you don't want, so you, or doing the things that most won't do, so that you can live the life that most won't have.
Exactly.
And I think that's really very, very powerful. I do want to open it up to questions. So do we have a couple questions right in here? Yes, Esther?
How much time did you put in the beginning to get to where you are? Like how much time?
All of it.
On a daily basis.
So how much time did you put in the beginning on a daily basis?
All of it. I didn't do anything else. I treat this as a job, even though I tell people don't treat it like a job, because it's kind of like it's contradictory. So don't treat it like a job as in I'll just show up, clock in, clock out. That doesn't work. Treat it as a job as you gotta get in and do your work or you get fired. And then you're gonna have to go get another job. So like a 8 to 5 Bank of America kind of job that I didn't want. So I will tell you for the first 2 years, in fact, let's start even when I was an agent, I will show up to the office at 7:30 in the morning. I was usually the first one. And I will work maybe 3 nights a week until about 9:30, 10. And I will work the weekends. Any opportunity I had, so since I was part of a team, let's say the first Thanksgiving, I started in August. So when we got to Thanksgiving, nobody wanted to work the floor or the leads. And I said, oh, give it to me. I will. Oh, but it's Thanksgiving. I don't care. I will work on Thanksgiving. I don't care. And I had 3 sales that weekend. But you gotta be willing. I was told December is the lowest month. My Decembers have always been the best when I was an agent. Because I was willing to work. I was willing to drive in the snow. I was willing to put on boots, take a shovel, and take people around, because I was willing to do the work. Once I opened the team, it actually increased because I was still in production. So I let go of the buyers right away because I had agents. But I had to focus on still getting listings and run the team and structure the team and follow the model with the team. But I will tell you, for the first 2 years of running the legacy group, maybe Saturdays I didn't go to the office. I will go to the open houses my agents were doing. I will go to my own open houses. But every day I would be at the office no later than 7:30. Part of it is because since I'm running a team and I have agents, the agents will show up between 8:30 and 9. The moment they showed up, my day was over. Like I now became the coach of the agents, helping the agents, work with the agents, train the agents, put out fires. So my work time was between 7:30 and 9. So that was sacred for me. So I will show up to the 7:30 with nobody there and do everything I could, all my job. I will do lead gen with the agents. So that's where I got my listings. But working on the business was 7:30 to 9. And usually at night, that I will tell you this. What advantage did I have? I didn't have kids. I was married to my partner. So I will see my husband during the day, and then at night, the poor thing just thought that I always talk about business and I didn't care about anything else. But I will tell you, it is all the time. And now I have 2 kids, I have a husband, I have a bunch of other companies, and I can see how it could be tough when you have kids, but it's a matter of prioritizing and being very effective with your time. And in my world, at least, I talk myself out of guilt trips all the time because, oh my gosh, I'm not with my kids. Oh my gosh, I'm not in the house. But wait, I just spent the whole weekend with them. They're fine. They're happy. They're with a nanny. and I'm doing this for them because I want them to have more opportunities. So I get some of the mindset around time with your family, and yet if you have the right conversations, if you have the right priorities, if you have the right management of time, I think it can be done. And but again, you have to put in the time. So at the beginning, I just worked, but I love it, right? I love what I do. So my family became my agents. I'm from Colombia. I don't have family in Spokane. So the people that I work with became my family. We did things together, have lunch with them. So to me was, I'm going home and I'm gonna work and I'm gonna have fun.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I want to point out that she's in snow. It was in snow, guys. That was in shoveling snow and still going out and doing what she needed to do and putting on the boots. So a little bit of rain over here is not, reasons or results. You can't have both. I think we have time for one more question, and then I want to make sure that we honor Claudia's time.
Are you going to family reunion?
Yes, absolutely. I've only missed one because I was about to have a baby in 12 years. Every family reunion, every mega camp, you'll see me there.
Are you
Then
giving
you
a
see me,
class?
say hello. Nope, no this time. I went away a few years ago from being on a stage. It's a lot, and I have a market center in Miami. I have a mega team in Spokane, Washington, and I'm an investor owner of Keller Williams Colombia. So when I go to these events, I am literally meeting the people from Colombia because I don't see them as often. I used to be the trainer, so I will go once a month. Now for the last year, I haven't. So that's where, and they bring recruits, so then I have to move recruits. Then the legacy group, they come over. I only see them once a year because I only go to Spokane once a year. So this is my opportunity to be with them. Then I have 40 people from my market center going. So it's like I divide myself in everybody. So I decided about 2 years ago to step out from participating in the panels and the stage and just be present with the people. And so if you see me, please say hello and introduce yourself. I love to meet you. And if there is anything that I can do to help you, I'll be more than happy and super glad to help. That's what I do. That's really what I do. My market center as the OP, what I really focus on is on helping agents build their businesses. That's my passion, because to me, and I'm gonna leave you with this, in Colombia or from outside this country, or maybe even in this country, I was told before, the American dream is to own a house, right? Like that's what we were told. We grew up thinking that way. And that's okay, that's fine. Yes, home ownership is amazing and everybody should have that opportunity. And yet, as an immigrant, coming from a country where the laws and the rules are so tough for businesses, and coming to this country where not only the laws for businesses are super easy and actually help you build a business, then you're in this company that you have a guideline on how to me, the American dream is to actually be an entrepreneur and have your very successful business in a country that allows you to do that. So I am super passionate about helping others do what I did, because if I could do it, anybody can do it. I barely spoke English, so anybody can do it. I have an accent. I sound like I'm from Russia. Nothing wrong with that. Nobody spoke Spanish, and it didn't matter. I just went and I did it. So I'm super passionate about helping people build businesses. So if you are in that path, which I hope you are, because otherwise I don't know what else you're doing, then I'll be here to help you.
Thank you so much, Claudia.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.